All right, horror fans, welcome back for another deep dive, and this time we're really getting into it with T. West's X.
Yeah, this one's a real gem.
It is, and, on the surface you think, oh, just another slasher flick, but there's so much more going on.
Oh, absolutely.
So much more.
So much more to unpack.
Exactly. We're going to get into all that.
Yes.
The metaphors, the symbolism, the psychology of it all.
Yeah, it's all that.
It is like a buffet of horror analysis.
I like that buffet of horror analysis.
So let's dive in. You've got that classic slasher setup, right?
Right.
The group of attractive youngsters.
Yep.
The isolated, creepy location. But then you've got this.
Yeah, and it's not just about the setup. I mean, it really uses that to explore these deeper themes. You've got desire, you've got aging, you've got that dark side of ambition. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, and that generational clash right off the bat.
Oh, yeah.
Between the filmmakers and Pearl and Howard.
Absolutely. That's the heart of it, right?
It's like these two groups are from different planets.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you've got the young filmmakers. They're all about, youth and vitality and chasing their dreams. They're literally driving a van full of that energy, right?
Yeah.
And then you crash them into Pearl and Howard, who represent this older generation. And they're dealing with, aging, regret, unfulfilled desires. It's like this collision of worldviews.
And the setting, the farm itself plays such a huge role, too.
Wow.
It's not just the backdrop.
Absolutely not. Just like another character.
It is like another character in the film.
It's isolated. It's decaying. It's almost like a reflection of Pearl's internal state.
It really is. You know how in so many horror movies, the setting is like a trap?
Right.
This takes it to another level.
Oh, yeah.
The farm in X is like a suffocating symbol.
Yes.
Of Pearl's trapped desires and resentment.
Exactly. You can practically feel it closing in on everyone.
So we got to talk about Pearl.
Oh, we have to. She's incredible.
She's a complex character.
She is.
And kind of disturbing.
Oh, yeah. Definitely disturbing. But that's what makes her so fascinating, right?
It is what is driving her obsession with these young filmmakers.
I think it's this really tangled web. It's jealousy. It's longing for her lost youth. It's this desperate desire for a kind of beauty that society tells her she doesn't have anymore. It's heartbreaking to watch her cling to those memories while simultaneously lashing out at the people who remind her of what she's lost.
Yeah, you see those flashes of vulnerability, though.
Yes.
Like that yearning for connection.
Absolutely.
Even as she's committing these horrific acts.
That's what makes her such a compelling villain, right? She's not just a monster. She's a product of a culture that worships youth and discards anyone who ages, and that leaves her feeling invisible and desperate.
And then there's Howard, her husband.
Yeah.
He's almost like a ghost haunting the edges of the film.
He's so quiet.
Where does he fit into the puzzle?
I think Howard represents this kind of quiet resignation to aging and fading relevance. He's almost like a cautionary tale of what happens when you completely surrender to those societal expectations. It's a stark contrast to Pearl's, rebellious, even violent resistance.
So we've got this powder keg of generational conflict.
Right.
We've got this setting that just oozes unease.
Absolutely.
And we've got Pearl, this amazingly complex antagonist.
Yeah.
Where does Maxine, our final girl, fit into all of this?
Yeah, good question.
She's not your typical scream queen, is she?
No, not at all. Maxine is ambitious, she's driven, and she shares that same hunger for recognition that consumes Pearl. There's that scene where she talks about wanting to be big, to make a mark on the world, and you realize they're both chasing a similar dream, just in vastly different ways.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Like two sides of the same coin.
Exactly.
Both fueled by desire.
Yes.
But headed down very different paths.
Right, and that's the question, isn't it? Is Maxine just fighting to survive the night, or is she fighting against becoming another version of Pearl? Is she going to become a prisoner of her own ambition?
It's a thought that'll keep you up at night.
Right.
The film seems to be saying that ambition can be this powerful force.
Definitely.
But it can also corrupt you.
Absolutely.
And consume you if you're not careful.
If you let it.
And then there's that whole idea of the male gaze.
Oh, yeah.
Which we should probably talk about because this film plays with that in some interesting ways.
Oh, it does. It flips it on its head.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me more about that. How does X mess with that whole male gaze idea?
Well, think about it. You've got these young filmmakers, and they're shooting an adult film, which, on the surface, seems like it's playing into that whole exploitative male gaze thing. But then you have Pearl, who becomes this embodiment of repressed female desire, and she turns the tables. she becomes the predator.
It's like the film is saying, hey, women have desires too. And repressing those desires can have some seriously messed up consequences.
Absolutely. And X doesn't shy away from the violence that erupts from this clash of desires and societal expectations.
Right, but it's not just gratuitous gore, is it?
No, it's not. It serves a purpose.
Okay, so let's talk about that. X is a visually stunning film.
It is.
But it's also pretty brutal.
Yeah.
How does that violence contribute to the film's overall message?
Well, the violence, it's visceral, it's unsettling, and it acts as this physical manifestation of the character's inner turmoil. It's like their darkest impulses are literally exploding outward.
And West uses those violent moments to create some serious suspense.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the way he frames those kills with the shadows and the slow, deliberate camera movements.
He's a master at that.
He is. It's like he's playing with our expectations, drawing out the tension.
Exactly. It's not about jump scares. It's about creating this atmosphere of dread that just seeps into your bones.
And the cinematography just enhances that.
Oh.
The way he uses light and shadow, those long, lingering shots of the farmhouse.
It's all designed to make you feel uneasy, like something's not quite right.
Like the farm itself is this monster.
Right.
Slowly revealing its secrets as the film unfolds.
Exactly.
And speaking of unsettling visuals, there's that scene when Pearl is watching Maxine and her boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
It's filmed in split screen.
Yeah.
And you see the longing and the despair on Pearl's face.
It's mirrored by the passion and vitality of the young couple.
That scene is just brilliant.
It is. It's so well done.
The split screen really emphasizes that stark contrast between their experiences.
Right.
It highlights how society values youth and sexuality, but dismisses the desires and complexities of older women.
Exactly.
And it ties into that whole voyeuristic element that runs throughout the film.
Oh, yeah.
Watching and being watched.
Like we're all complicit in this cycle of objectification, whether we realize it or not.
And then there's that meta-commentary on filmmaking itself.
Oh, yeah.
You've got these young filmmakers exploiting the farm and its inhabitants for their own artistic ambitions.
Right.
They're filming an adult film without really understanding the darkness they're unleashing.
Yeah, and it makes you think about the audience watching a horror film. Like, we're all seeking some kind of thrill, some escape, but at what cost?
There's a twisted reflection.
Absolutely.
That's the dark brilliance of X.
It
makes you question your own motivations, your own desires.
It's a film that stays with you long after the credits roll.
So we've talked about the characters, the symbolism, the violence, even the film's meta-commentary. But what does it all mean?
Yeah, that's the big question.
What's the takeaway message here?
I think X is ultimately a cautionary tale. It's about the dangers of repressed desire, denying parts of ourselves in order to fit into these societal expectations. It's about confronting our own mortality, our fears, our insecurities, and finding a way to live authentically even when it's messy and complicated.
Wow. That's a pretty powerful message for a slasher film.
It is, but that's what elevates X above your typical gorefest. It's a film that makes you think, that challenges your perceptions of aging desire and the human condition.
It's like looking into this dark mirror.
Yes.
Reflecting back not just our fears,
Right.
but our own hidden desires and the lengths we might go to fulfill them.
Exactly. X forces us to confront those uncomfortable truths about ourselves.
It's like looking into this dark mirror, reflecting back not just our fears, but our own hidden desires and the lengths we might go to fulfill them.
Exactly. X forces us to confront those uncomfortable truths about ourselves, and that's what makes it so damn fascinating.
It's not just about the blood and guts. It's about the deeper stuff, the things that keep us up at night.
Right. It gets under your skin and stays there, makes you question your own relationship with aging and desire the choices we make in pursuit of our dreams.
So for our listeners who haven't seen X, what are you waiting for?
Yeah, definitely check it out.
Just be prepared for a wild ride.
Oh, yeah.
And for those who've seen it, I hope this deep dive has given you a whole new perspective.
I think it's a film that rewards multiple viewings.
Oh, for sure.
Each time you watch it, you catch new details, new layers of meaning that you might have missed before.
It's like those hidden Easter eggs in video games.
Yeah, kinda.
But in this case, the Easter eggs are these profound insights into human nature.
And that's what makes Ti West such a masterful horror director.
He really is.
He understands that true horror isn't just about jump scares or gore. It's about tapping into our deepest fears and anxieties.
And X does that in spades.
It does.
It makes you confront the darkness within yourself, the things you might not want to admit are there.
But it also offers a glimmer of hope.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, Maxine survives the night she escapes the farm, and while we're left wondering if she'll ultimately repeat Pearl's mistakes, there's also the possibility that she'll learn from the experience and forge her own path.
It's like the film is saying, hey, we all have that potential for darkness within us,
Right.
but we also have the power to choose a different path.
And that choice, that struggle between light and shadow, that's what makes us human. It's what makes X such a haunting and ultimately unforgettable film.
Well said. And on that note, we're wrapping up another deep dive. Thanks for joining us as we explore the twisted world of X.
Always a pleasure.
We hope you're leaving with some fresh perspectives and
Yeah.
maybe a few chills down your spine. Until next time, keep exploring those dark corners of cinema. It really does. It's so powerful.
It's thought-provoking.
Makes you think.
Yeah, and you know that ending
Oh, yeah.
with Maxine driving off into the sunrise?
Right.
It leaves you with this sense of unease.
Is she going to be okay? Or is she...
Right, is she going to end up like Pearl?
Yeah, is this a cycle?
Exactly. Is it a cycle that just keeps repeating?
That's what's so brilliant about the film.
It is. It doesn't give you easy answers.
It doesn't.
It leaves you with these questions.
It makes you think.
It makes you think about your own choices.
Yeah. And I think that's what good horror should do.
Oh, absolutely. It should stay with you.
It should make you uncomfortable.
Exactly. It should challenge you.
So if you're looking for a film that's going to do all that, X is definitely worth checking out.
It is.
It's more than just a slasher flick.
It's a film that deserves to be discussed and analyzed.
And that's what we love to do here on The Deep Dive.
That's right. We love to go deep.
So thanks for joining us on this journey into the twisted world of X.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring those dark corners of cinema